Welcome to the MoxStars podcast. I am Menace. First time going by the moniker. I'm going to sort of switch up the vibe a little bit. This is Menace rocking with you, and I'm here with Indestructible.
Oh, okay. I like that one. You didn't tell me which one you're going to throw at me, but I will take Indestructible.
You know, you got to throw darts at the wall to see what sticks.
Yeah, although I got to say, it might be more of a ward situation, and somebody is paying that ward cost because I am a 40-year-old man, and I have the knees of someone my age.
Yeah, well, I'm right there with you. Athletics have not done me any favors with my 31-year-old knees.
Gotta take care of it. Like, this is the podcast where we talk about taking care of your body as you age, right?
And your knees will eventually hurt.
Yeah. Knees, back, take care of all of it. Do some yoga while you're young.
Well, if you didn't know this is the #1 podcast on the internet for knee healthcare, Magic the Gathering, and Dr. Pepper. If you'd like to support this show...
3 things that go together.
Yeah, I mean, if your knees hurt, there's more time to drink Dr. Pepper because you'll likely not be on your feet doing things.
Okay. I see what you did there.
You know what I'm saying? But if you'd like to support the show of knee healthcare, Dr. Pepper, and Magic the Gathering, you can find us on YouTube, or you can subscribe. We have 141 subscribers. We had 142 at last week's episode, but Ritter, I just realized this.
What's that?
Indestructible. I just realized this, that when you're not on the episode, we lose subscribers. So you are the linchpin.
Really?
You are the linchpin to this whole show. You cannot not miss any more episodes. That is, you're done.
I don't know if I can commit to that, but sure.
You know, we'll give it a.
I'll do what I have to do for the show.
All we can do is try our best. We're all out here trying our best. So you can find us on YouTube, where we have 141 subscribers, one less than last week. Thanks, Ritter. And you can also find us on all major podcasting platforms, where you can give us 5 stars, make us look super duper cool, and you can support us on Patreon. You can become an official Pepperhead for $3 a month, or you can become a cherry vanilla Pepperhead like UWP Quirt. Thank you so much. And that's $5 a month. The benefit of joining the Patreon is that we do a giveaway bi-weekly. And this week's giveaway is one of our original MoxStars playmats.
Oh, those are collector's items. They
are collector's items, and it exceeds the value of the giveaway limit, like, by quite a bit. So for everyone who joins the Patreon, it increases how much that we earn. We're doing giveaways that match how much you guys are supporting us. So the MoxStars playmat exceeds that value, but I want to get some merch into some people's hands so that you guys can be out there and repping the show. So if you are a standard Pepperhead, you get 1 free entry. If you are a cherry vanilla Pepperhead, you get 2 free entries for every single giveaway. If you'd like to get a free entry, you can. I will think about something and stick around until the end of the show, and I will have devised a way to earn a free entry and announce it then. All right, Ritter.
You're devising things?
I'm devising things currently. The wheels are turning in my brain. I'm going to figure it out, and by the end of the show, I will have created a way for people to earn a free entry to win this MoxStars playmat.
So would you say that you're a devious person, or are these just casual machinations?
A little bit of column A, a little bit more column A. Then,
with a name like Menace, you might be a devious person, just devising things.
It's just, it's the way I approach situations, which is why Menace is so fitting.
They call you Menace the Mastermind, don't they?
In smaller circles, yeah. Yes, they do. Yeah, they when I'm out there, so I just played soccer last night, and I have on the back of my jersey, Menace is printed on the back of my jersey. And so that when I run by them or I steal the ball from them or I dribble right past them or whatever, and they read the name on the back, It's meant to be like, oh my god, that's tough as hell. So
Are they intimidated?
a lot of them do end up being intimidated. Yes.
Okay, nice.
Yeah, I'm a freak on the field, but I'm gonna that's just gonna go by. We're just gonna accept that I said that and move right on. I will say that Ritter, I got the podcast in a little bit of hot water last week.
So?
Now there is a content creator out there who is incredibly popular, and her name is Talia Vess.
Okay.
Okay.
We met her at MagicCon.
Yes, we did meet her at MagicCon, and well, she put a video up on her Instagram that was looking for some feedback, and on my personal, not the MoxStars like Instagram account, but on my personal account, which has the MoxStars link in my thing, I gave some feedback to the video because she asked for it, and I was like, you know what? Maybe this helps her make a more informed decision about what type of content she wants to be producing. So I gave my feedback, and this is a shout out to everyone who wants to have personal communications with Talia Vess, but she sent me a personal message after that. It wasn't that I was giving negative feedback. I was just saying that the content in that video was not something that I wanted to really see or continue. Like, getting dressed on camera is not really my cup of tea, and that's what she was doing. So
Gotcha.
I don't really, I'm not really like someone who's trying to watch people get dressed on camera on Instagram. So she sent me like a really long message being like, I'm going to do whatever I want. So,
okay.
And then
there was drama that I was unaware of.
Yes, yeah, and it was unintentional.
You are embroiled in it.
Wow. Well, it wasn't just that. It was like that comment garnered the most attention on that post by like a lot. It was
gotcha.
Like probably 15 or 16 additional comments in response being like, she's just getting dressed on camera, what's the big deal? And I'm like, she asked for feedback and I want to see it. So the MoxStars podcast is stirring the pot. This might have ruined our chances at MagicCon Vegas, depending on whether or not that all, they connected the dots. But regardless, that's how I got the podcast.
Maybe dialing in on the podcast,
yeah,
and connecting the dots for them.
Fingers crossed.
Yeah.
Anyway, this week's episode, there have been some new things happening in the world of Magic, but things have been moving rather slowly, which is a little sort of unfamiliar. We've been playing a game and being involved in a community where like the strategies and the cards are ever flowing, and so it's kind of a weird space to be in, which is this week, next week, before new spoilers start happening for Modern Horizons 3, like official spoilers. In the meantime, though, we're getting plenty of unofficial spoilers in the form of photos taken by a potato. So let's dive into those. Like there's some really cool new cards that are being seen. And if you go to Reddit and you look at the subreddit MTG rumors, this is where a lot of it is landing. And the reason that it's falling under this subject is because we've seen many fake cards in the past, but not all of them have ever, have remained true. So, Ritter, can you hear the symphony happening in the background?
Yeah, where is that coming from?
1 second. If you're looking for these cards, the Modern Horizons 3 cards, you can find them on MTG Rumors. And the reason for that is just because we've seen a lot of fake cards in the past. And while these look very official and very real, and I don't know how someone would fake some of these, that's why they land here. And so it's probably the best place to find something like this. So first card that we're seeing at the top of the page is a card called Null Drifter. For 7 colorless mana, you get a 4/4 flying Eldrazi Elemental that says when you cast this spell, draw 2 cards. It says it has Annihilator 1 and Evoke for 2 in a blue. So its identity is blue regardless of it having a colorless casting cost. Now, this is also attributed to, yes, we're getting plenty of Eldrazi. I think that, or in Modern Horizons 3, I think that was known. I think we knew about like the sense that was on the way, especially with Emrakul being spoiled. But more than anything, what's happening is we're starting to see Devoid make a return, and I think that a lot of these cards are like, this one doesn't have it, but a lot of them are going to include Devoid in there as like their keyword. So if you're unfamiliar, Devoid is this card is technically colorless, regardless of having color in its casting cost, though it doesn't change its identity. Ritter, what do you think about this card right off the bat?
Which one? What? Sorry. I was following the Devoid thing, and then someone just texted me. I'm sorry.
You're good. Null Drifter, 7 colorless
Null
mana.
Drifter.
Yes.
Oh boy. Yeah. No. Okay. Here we go. Yeah. What are the lines here where it's worthwhile, I guess?
Now, that is what I'm having trouble seeing, where this, like there is, this is in the official Modern Horizons 3 set.
Okay.
So this is something that you'll be able to play in Modern, Legacy, Vintage, whatever. And this is going to be a bad card in Commander because it doesn't have the enter the battlefield effect. And that's what...
Yeah, because you have to cast it.
Exactly. And that's what Mull Drifter has over this, where while this is colorless and will likely have a home in some Eldrazi deck, because there's so many cards that care about, like mana value 7 or greater, or as we'll see with the next card, I think the next card we're going to look at is that... there are going to be enchantments that care about like colorless spells being cast. So while this will still technically be cast for its evoke cost, and you could potentially cash in on other effects, this seems like a card that is supplementing a build around. Like it's not, you don't build around this, but this is part of the build around. If that makes sense.
You think it's part of like a 3 or 4 card situation?
Yeah, this isn't anything competitive by any means, because if you were gonna like try to abuse drawing 2 cards off of an evoke, or you're just gonna play Mull Drifter, especially since its identity is still blue. So I like. Let's go to the next card and see if this card makes more sense after I explain the next one. Here's the next card. It is called Echoes of Eternity. For 3 and 3 colorless mana, we get the first card seen that includes the word Kindred. This is a Kindred enchantment, Eldrazi. So if you're unfamiliar with the swap, this happened... I think they made the announcement like 6 months ago, maybe a little bit more. But they made the announcement that cards were no longer going to be like tribal. They're going to be kindred. So that's essentially this. They are essentially the same thing. And I'm sure we'll see an errata when these cards are actually like printed to the rule book saying that kindred is
okay.
tribal.
Can I clarify? Are they essentially the same thing, or are they the same thing? It's errataing.
Yes, it's errataing.
Okay.
So, thank you. Yeah, it is the same thing.
Because they do that a lot, where they do something that is functionally very similar, but with one small difference.
Right. Yeah. So no, this one is going to receive an errata to make them the same thing.
Gotcha.
So Echoes of Eternity, Kindred enchantment Eldrazi. If a triggered ability of a colorless spell you control or another colorless permanent you control triggers, that ability triggers an additional time. Whenever you cast a colorless spell, copy it. You may choose new targets for the copy. So more doubling effects because there weren't enough. And now we see... Oh, go ahead.
Well, I just feel like we know with the Wizards design cycle, like they, there's so much that's below the waterline. Like they must have just opened up on the doubling effects and put it into every set that they were designing concurrently without telling the different teams. And like everyone just went like bonkers with it, right? That had to be what happened.
Like we have the freedom to do this?
Yeah, there had to be something internally there where they were like, yeah, we're going to loosen this restriction, or we want to encourage more of this type of stuff. And they told it to the separate design teams because that's how the sets are designed. And just like everyone just went for it. Everyone took the bait, right?
Yeah, this doesn't even make these. I don't think this is like really worth being playable. It doesn't have any cost reduction or anything.
Yeah,
like
it's
that.
super expensive. Like it's more expensive than all the other doubling effects, and it's limited to just colorless, right?
Yeah, exactly. So, well, I guess the other thing is that you can use like there are definitely special Eldrazi like lands that allow you to tap for more mana if it's casting something that is Eldrazi. That the thing is, it doesn't meet that 7 mana requirement. That is where Eldrazi has like drawn the line to say like, hey, you get a benefit for casting something 7 or greater. This is just underneath that, so it actually gets worse than by being just a little bit cheaper than if it were 4 and 3 colorless. It would actually trigger more things for the for the Kindred Eldrazi than it would if it where it currently stands. So it's like you said, they opened up the floodgates on this whole doubling thing, and they're not talking to each other. Like the different departments, like they break up. When I was applying for jobs at Wizards of the Coast, they were looking for like multiple team leaders for R&D, and it just makes me think that like because you have multiple team leaders for like different sets, that for whatever reason they're not talking to each other about they're like balancing things, of course, like in the larger scope of the game. Maybe they didn't talk to each other when Lord of the Rings was being developed because the One Ring is crazy, but right here in every set we're seeing, you're probably right that for the future the next 2 years, we're probably going to see a doubling effect of some sort for a particular like Kindred group or something like that, and it is becoming redundant and boring design that has no like. This is great for
you can really just beat a good idea into the ground sometimes,
Yes, yeah. So like, for a long time, like even doubling season's still expensive, still a crazy expensive card to like get your hands on.
Well, it's one of the cleanest versions of the effect as well,
right? And it encapsulates the most, like as far as like counters, any type of counters, and any type of like copying ability, tokens, whatever. So, Parallel Lives, another version of that same effect. It's just like, great. Those existed in like a color, like and as part of the color pie, like something that was exclusively green, and they're trying to do it for other parts of like the pie that where it makes sense. And right now we're getting to the point where they're just doing it to do it. It doesn't make sense anymore.
Yeah, they're doing it in every flavor that they can, right?
Yes. And so now we have the Eldrazi flavor, the big spaghetti monster flavor. And yeah, like I said, it just seems a little weird because it's in the main set, and this is gonna be a feels bad card to pull when you're out there drafting Modern Horizons 3. So kind of sad. Cool card for Commander players, and we'll get into that in just a second. But there's another really great card next on the list. This one is probably going to see the most play out of all the cards that we've seen so far, but it is called Flare of Denial. For 1 and 2 blue, it is an instant that says you may sacrifice a non-token blue creature rather than pay this spell's mana cost. Counter target spell. Wow. Force of something. We've seen. This is where a lot of the money is going to go in Modern Horizons 3. I think this is one of the most efficient, if not kind of maybe it is the most efficient. It's right up there in the top, I think, top 5 counter spells of all time. Just right out the gate. I think in Commander, this is perfectly acceptable for, you lay your commander down. I'm going to sacrifice the commander if it means that I save the game, that I stop someone else from winning. Mm-hmm. And this is going to give legs to a lot more blue 1-drops, or, I guess we'll see what other cards come out in this set that are non-token, low to the ground type creatures. But we'll start finding, because this is so good, we'll start to find and look at low cost blue creatures in a different light, especially in CDH.
Yeah, I mean, blue doesn't have a ton of those. That's not its reputation. But all of a sudden, if the fringe benefit is creating a free counterspell, a free unconditional counterspell, then okay, it becomes a very good turn 1, turn 2 play all of a sudden.
Yes, yeah. If I can stop someone from you would really stifle somebody if they went for a dockside on turn 2 after the table got greedy, and you're just yep, I'll sack this creature and I'll counter that. That's the thing, is that there are so few creature counter spells in that people run in CEDH that this now finds that home, where before it was you literally had to have Force of Will, or you have to have Pact of Negation, or something in that lane, or something of that type. And now we have this all-encompassing counterspell that will only require you to have to sacrifice a blue creature, non-token blue creature. So I like this. I like it a lot. I think this is going to be, like I said, this is going to be, even though it's at rare, it's not a mythic, it's at rare.
It's going to be an expensive card.
Yeah.
What is it? What's the pre-sale right now?
Oh, nothing yet, because it's not official. So
gotcha.
Yeah, that's why again, it's on MTG rumors. There might be this this is definitely a real card. Because I do think that the sacrificing a non-token blue creature is sort of limiting in certain ways, especially in Modern. Is this fast enough? Are you going to get rid of your board state, or something that's contributing to your board state to counter the spell? Probably, but this also lends me to believe that there is going to be an entire cycle of cards and spells like these, and I think whatever the black one ends up being will probably be sacrifice a non-token black creature, destroy target creature, or exile target creature, and then white will, I don't know, maybe white will be a silence. That would be really cool, a 3.
I mean, that would be amazing, because white already has tons of those, low to the ground guys that you're playing turn 1, turn 2, where it becomes very good. And white doesn't have a lot of very good free spells, as it turns out.
Yeah, and the force of whatever it was in the first Modern Horizons.
Well, Solitude is amazing. Never mind, I take that back.
Yeah, Solitude's great single target removal, but I think if they made an instant that was a Force of Silence for, this saying sacrifice a non-token white creature, that doesn't help white win the game. It just helps it preserve the game, which is I think is very fitting for that color, that section of the color pie. But that also, if that is the card that we're talking about, it ends up being real, that also becomes almost instantaneous staple for all Commander decks and all CDH decks, right? Is it better than Silence? After a certain point?
No, I mean, they do different things. I think white wants as many silence effects as it can get.
Yeah.
Honestly, depending on how many pieces of the color pie you're getting into, like white will take the effect, and it might be better than Orum's Chant. It might be better than a couple of the other secondary silence effects.
Yeah, for sure. And I like one other thing to note is that it is a sacrifice as an addition or as an alternative cost. So there are certain cards, commanders like Dargo, that would see a reduction in cost from casting a spell like this. So there is that also the potential for that, or like death triggers to go on the stack. Because you sacrifice something. So there are more benefits to it than just having a free spell to cast. I feel like there's still, even though the ceiling's very high, the ceiling could be higher with the right setup. All right, Flare Denial, really great card. The next leak that we're seeing is at Rare. We're going to see a reprint of Sapphire Medallion, which is great, which makes me believe that we're going to see, because we only saw 5 medallions get reprinted in Commander Master or whatever that, yeah, Commander Masters. So I'm guessing we're going to get the other 5 here. I don't know what that does for Modern, or if these are already legal in Modern, but I'm scratching my head on that. I'm not knowledgeable enough of the format to know, but we are getting more medallion reprints. The next card, and then we'll get to the whole Eldrazi commander thing in just a second. The next card, Ritter, you had said you are excited for Merfolk because of this, but it is Harbinger of the Seas for one.
Well, first of all, I didn't say I was excited for Merfolk.
Well,
it's exciting for Merfolk, not me personally. I'm not going to play Merfolk because of this.
Right.
I don't think this card is enough to drive someone to play Merfolk, is what I want to clarify.
Right. No, they're probably, this is a sideboard card, it feels like. Because for 1 and 2 blue, you get a Merfolk Wizard that is a 2/2 that says non-basic lands are islands. And the flavor text is actually pretty good. You ready for this?
Let's go.
Yeah. The rising moon calls mercilessly to the waves, commanding the sea to rise high enough to devour mountains.
That goes pretty hard, right?
Yeah. Pretty much a direct call to its effect, which is Blood Moon, but Flood Moon. So this is a great card. I don't know what it is. Yeah, go ahead.
I was excited for something off of this card, which you hinted at, Flood Moon effects and Blood Moon effects. Like, there might be an Is It mana denial deck if you take all the Blood Moon effects and then all the Flood Moon effects, throw Boil in there, throw, like, I don't know, Pillage or Stone Rain or, like, other versions of that effect that might be good enough now if that's what you're trying to do. And there might be something there.
Right.
I don't know who the commander for that is, but...
Aren't there? I'm just like blanking here because my knowledge of the game isn't Gavin Verhey level, but
few have that level, and it might just be Gavin.
Right. But there are spells that allow you to cast certain things like for reduction or for free if your opponents control an island. So most notably, and this might be confusing for people who aren't fluid with all the rules, it is saying that they are islands, not in addition to their other types, but they are islands. And so they're non-basic islands that only tap for blue mana, so it can be restrictive to certain decks. But I do feel like Blood Moon and the Magus of the Moon are just restricting things to mountains, or like turning them to mountains feels far less, or feels far more powerful than turning them into islands, where blue usually has, like, if you give someone an extra island, that gives them and they didn't have open blue mana or enough open blue mana to mana drain you, it's going to feel really bad, like when you set this up and then you go for something bigger and give them the mana that they need to be able to cast like something or to interact with you in a certain way. So that is the downside that I see to it. But you're right. The upside is you might screw somebody super hard by landing this on the battlefield. And
It's very tempting.
Yeah, and it does have notable typing. So like Merfolk, great. Modern Merfolk might want to sideboard this, but then it's also a wizard. And while it doesn't have like a triggered ability or anything, you are going to be able to tutor this with multiple cards that exist within, the format. So just by it being a wizard. All right, enough being said about that. Let's get to the Eldrazi stuff that everybody wants to talk about. The biggest thing to happen with today's leak is that we are seeing in the picture, if you're on YouTube, you can see that I've pulled it up, but there are Modern Horizons 3 Commander decks. So the big thing here right off the bat for me is that this is a set designed for Modern, and we're getting Commander decks alongside of it, which makes me think that, and especially with some of the cards we've talked about, they are more Commander focused than they are Modern focused. And so even though the title of the set is Modern Horizons, I feel like we're definitely looking at and confirming everyone's suspicions that this is indeed Commander Horizons under the guise of being a set that is going to contribute to Modern, but not be designed for Modern.
Well, I mean, Commander is the largest and most accessible format. I think, Wizards just puts, just makes cards where the money is.
It's true. You gotta as a business.
Yeah, as a business, you gotta, and but now more than ever, I think there's a little bit of cynical edge to it, and just everything is just, we're just gonna pump the cash cow.
Yeah, well, I think that the initial intention for Modern Horizons was to reinvigorate that format, and then they saw how many packs they sold and how many of those cards contributed directly to Commander as a format and everything like that, and they were just like, yeah, let's rock with it. Keep rolling into it. Ragavan, obviously, in Modern Horizons 2, warped Modern and was super powerful. Maybe we'll see the same thing happen again with Modern Horizons 3, but then that makes that format even more unhealthy because then it's just waiting for the next Modern Horizons set to come out to be competitive in that format. So you hate to see it. It's sort of a double-edged sword where they're printing cards where the money needs to be, but then they're also potentially damaging a format that this set is designed for. So here we are.
Yeah.
We have these Commander decks. There's 3 of them that we can see. There's this portrait card up here. It's a Jeskai Legend, but I cannot tell what it is. So I'm sure we'll get to that soon. That'll someone will be able to decipher that and put the text up on Reddit. That'd be great. But the 3 decks that we're seeing a Jund Lurgoyf focus deck. That's if I'm remembering right, it says that if you cast a Lurgoyf, you create a copy of it. Or no, it's whenever a Lurgoyf goes to the graveyard from anywhere other than the battlefield, put it on the battlefield instead. So yeah, pretty crazy. And then it also has an ability to create a Tarmogoyf token. And I can't quite make out what the requirement is for that. So that's pretty cool design that they're doing something completely committed to the kindred term, Lurgoyf, typing, something that it's been a creature type since probably Future Sight or something, whatever set.
Yeah, I think Future Sight was the first one, maybe.
Yeah. So, and then there's a Simic Commander deck, and then which I can't really make out what it is or what those cards do. And then the big one, which everyone will be excited for, and this will probably be the most expensive of the decks. It is a 5-color Eldrazi deck based around Devoid. So there's a lot of hybrid mana in that cost that I can't quite make out. I'm sure it's all 5 and then 2 colorless being the other half of that, and then some text that is near illegible. Maybe someone will figure it out. But then it goes on, the post goes on, and it allows you to sort of like zoom in and see some of these things. Yeah, here is the Jund Lurgoyf commander. It says, whenever a Lurgoyf permanent... God, it is such a potato quality picture. Is put into the graveyard from anywhere other than the battlefield, put it into the battlefield instead. Whenever one or more creatures you control deal combat damage to an opponent, create a Termagoyf token. Wow, that seems fun. But then I can't really make out what the other ones do. But in here, we see even more Eldrazi, more colorless Eldrazi being printed into these decks, so you get a good idea of what the deck will do. You know, just as shitty as my knees are, my eyes are also suffering from old age, so I can't quite read all this stuff. Also, do you smell that, Ritter? Do you smell that?
What the Rock is cooking?
Yeah. And it's the Pinkertons, man. The Pinkertons are on their way to find whoever is leaking all this stuff.
Yeah. I don't know. I feel like the leaks have to be part of the marketing strategy at this point, right?
I mean, yeah, that's the tongue-in-cheek joke I've been going for with all of our stuff, is that yes, how do you get your hands on 8 commander decks from Modern Horizons 3, and then also 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 potential, like 7 or more Modern Horizons 3 play boosters or collectors boosters. So like, this is someone who is either working at the production facility and is just stealing and using throwaway accounts to show off their theft, or it is intentional to seeing as we're in the slow season for like Magic news and Magic stuff, that they're sort of like just splashing this out into the market to like keep people interested. Because if there's one thing that makes me feel good, it's when I feel like I shouldn't be looking at something that I'm looking at right then in that moment. You know what I'm saying? like
I kind of, yeah.
Like, I
feel that.
This is dirty. I shouldn't be looking at this. These are spoilers and no one's supposed to see yet. But I guess I'll peek, see what they all do. So yeah, that's kind of the feeling that maybe they're finally learning how to cash in on that, and it like builds anticipation for the product. So yeah, those are the Modern Horizons 3 marketing developments that we've seen just today. And in other news, one, I hope you enjoyed that. It's very insightful. But there is big news in the content creator section of cEDH and in Magic in general. But the guys over at Playing with Power are putting their channel on an indefinite hold. And they changed their YouTube channel description to say, some big changes have just come up in my personal life. The channel is being put on an indefinite hold. I don't know when it will be back, if at all. Sorry for such short notice. They've paused the Patreon, and they'll have more updates at a later time. Now, this is a channel that is responsible for so many cEDH players getting into the scene. Like, they have 94.5 thousand subscribers and nearly 800 videos, all focused on cEDH and creative builds and talking about doing like tournament coverage. It felt like it's not to say that they're done forever, because they said, if they're able to come back, they will. But if their, professional career in content creation ends today, they will be considered one of the greatest of all time in Magic the Gathering content creation. What they've been able to do and how they've been able to inspire new players to get into this format is just unparalleled. And then not only that, but they were starting to pick up more traction, being featured on other channels like Extra Turns, where Hire was able to go on there and sort of show the larger community. Because if we look at right here on this, they did a CEDH episode with Josh Lee Kwai on Command Zone, and has 150,000 views already. So all the casual players that normally watch their content are now getting a taste of cEDH, and it's all due to all the foundation that they've laid. Hire is also incredibly patient and a great teacher as a cEDH player. So I've played a couple games with him, and it's always a pleasure. So it's sad days here in cEDH land. Yeah, I guess Father Time is undefeated. Eventually we'll all get to that point, right? Like if the MoxStars podcast lasts half as long as, the Playing with Power channel has, I'll consider it a success. It's like
How many eps do we have to hit?
We have to go to 400, basically.
400? Easy. Nothing.
I think this is 82 or 83. So we're almost...
shit. I take it back. It's going to be a little harder than I thought. All right.
Well, that
I
just
am
means...
not Cal Ripken Jr. Okay.
Well, that just means we got to make more episodes more frequently,
No way out but through. Gotta
exactly.
Do it.
So if we're able to even scratch the surface of what Playing with Power has been able to accomplish, then yes, it's will have been worth it. But if you guys are looking for cEDH content, what they have posted and everything is obviously great to look forward to or to look at and really get a good sample taste. But you can also follow the MoxStars podcast, where we are the #1 podcast on the internet for Magic the Gathering, Dr. Pepper, and healthy knees and aging eyes.
Oh, yeah. We're adding so many elements to the podcast.
Also the home of the mid-range mindset.
There we go. Had to get that in.
Yep. I'm trying to sprinkle into every episode. Set the tone. Now listen here, Sonny. This is home of the mid-range mindset.
Is that Jimmy Stewart?
It's something. I don't know where it came from, but that's in my arsenal of accents and voices that I can do.
They call you the Midwest Tracy Ullman. You have all your characters.
I'm going to look up who that is after this episode is done.
Tracy Ullman, The Simpsons premiered on her variety show. She's a comedian famous for having just a lot of characters.
Well, call me Tracy Ullman then, the Midwest version of that. Or you can call me Menace of the MoxStars podcast. Ritter, anything else to add in this week's episode?
About knees or Tracy Ullman or Dr. Pepper or Peeps?
Oh, I was going to say, like, if you were going to forget about Peeps, I was going to mention Peeps, but...
Yeah, that is part of our core identity on this podcast.
We only consume
If you're confused,
sugar.
It is part of our core identity, Peeps.
Yes, it is. All right, I'm tapped out. It's like, again, it's a slow week in Magic, in the Magic world. I'm sure by the end of next week, we'll have seen most of Modern Horizons 3, so we'll have plenty more to talk about. But yeah, I'm tapped the heck out, dude. Let's get out of here. And
let's go.
All right. Let's do our sign off. This has been Menace of the MoxStars podcast. I'm here with Indestructible, the indestructible Chris Ritter. And if you'd like to support the show, you can do so by finding us on YouTube. You can like, subscribe, and ring that bell for more notifications. You can also support the show by finding us on all major podcasting platforms. And you can join our Discord community server, where if you see any of these spoilers and you want to talk about them, we're having those conversations. You can also support the show directly through Patreon by becoming an official Pepperhead. That will net you 1 free entry into our bi-weekly giveaways. Or you can become a cherry vanilla Pepperhead like UWP Quart, and that is $5 a month, but it gets you 2 free entries into every bi-weekly giveaway. This week's giveaway is the original MoxStars playmat. If you end up winning because you're a patron and you've been supporting us for such a long time, and you already have one of these and you would like a new playmat, we can talk about that. But yes.
Is it going to be signed?
If I can track you down, Ritter, I'm more than happy to sign it.
Well, are you going to sign it?
Yeah.
Regardless. Okay.
Sure. It'll be a signed MoxStars playmat, and I'll sign it with my moniker name. Menace. All right, sweet deal. Ritter, let's get the heck out of here.
Let's go.
Thank you guys for listening and for supporting the show. Peace.
Bye.
Oh, almost forgot. If you stuck around this long, I'm guessing you're looking for a way to enter into our giveaway for free. In order to get your 1 free entry into this week's giveaway, all you got to do is go on YouTube, make sure you're subscribed, and leave a comment with your favorite Modern Horizons 3 card that has been spoiled so far. I know there have been a few more that have come out since we recorded this episode, so there's plenty to talk about. Best of luck to all who enter into this week's giveaway to win an original MoxStars playmat that is signed by both Ritter and myself. Thank you. Bye.